Good morning, dear students. So, we are going to discuss scapular region today. So, like many of the things what you have studied with the osteology of scapula, humerus, clavicle will come into picture now. So, you can check your memory how far you remember the things. Along with that, we will also add intermuscular spaces. So, now this is the posterior shoulder region, which is composed of series of muscles that surround the scapula. This rounded contour of the shoulder which you are seeing is produced because of deltoid muscle, and this projection is, we know it is trapezius muscle, and this is latissimus dorsi, isn't it? And this picture from behind you see is triceps, isn't it? Now see, the various bones which we see underlying are the scapula, clavicle, and of course we have the vertebral column from where you have seen the attachment of certain muscles like levator scapulae, rhomboids minor, major, when we were doing the muscles of back. So one of the most superficial muscle what we see here in the scapular region is deltoid. Very, very important muscle. It is usually asked for 5 marks question for your university exam as well. So now let us see the origin insertion of deltoid. I told you these all things were covered in osteology. Now you have to recollect from where the deltoid arises. See the anterior border of the adjoining surface of the lateral one third of the clavicle. Okay, then this is acromion process. From the lateral border of the acromion process, we have acromial fibers. From the lateral one third of the clavicle, we have clavicular fibers, which are also called as anterior fibers. From the acromion, the fibers are called as acromial fibers. And from the spine of the scapula, you call it as the scapular fibers, also called as posterior fibers. That means the fibers are in three directions: anterior, middle, and posterior. So anterior fibers are coming from the lateral one third of the clavicle, and the middle fibers are coming from the lateral border of the acromion, where we not only find the muscle fibers but also we will see the origin of these four green lines, which are called as nothing but intermuscular septa. And whatever fibers are arising between these intermuscular septa, these are actually multipinnate fibers. Okay, then now these are the posterior fibers. They are coming from the lower lip of the crest of the spine of the scapula. So the anterior fibers, the middle fibers, and posterior fibers all together, they converge and they get inserted at deltoid tuberosity. If you remember, it is found in the middle one third of the humerus bone on the lateral surface. Okay, so three septa are actually arising from the deltoid tuberosity, which interdigitate between the four septa of origin, which have come from the acromion process. So they are interdigitating. So altogether, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 superiorly, 1, 2, 3 inferiorly. We have 7 intermuscular fibrous septae, in between which we have multipinnate fibers of deltoid taking their origin. So the acromial process of like part of the deltoid is an example of multipinnate muscles. So many fibers arise from four septa of origin that are attached above to the acromion, and the fibers converge on to the three septa of insertion which are attached to deltoid tuberosity. The nerve supply of deltoid is axillary nerve. If you remember yesterday's class, that has come from like a posterior cord of the brachial plexus, and the root value is C5 and C6. So this deltoid, you can see this is the round contour of shoulder which is seen from behind. This is the deltoid muscle. The multipinnate acromial fibers are powerful abductors of arm at the shoulder joint, which are responsible for the beginning of 90 degrees abduction at the shoulder. The anterior fibers are flexors and medial rotators, and posterior fibers are extensors and lateral rotators of arm. These actions again you are going to study when you do shoulder joint. So in a nutshell, again I have summarized this muscle like origin. So lateral one third of the clavicle, acromion and the spine of the scapula insertion, deltoid tuberosity of the lateral side of the shaft of the humerus. Action, we know anterior part flexes and the medial rotation, nothing but internal rotation. Middle part abducts 90 degrees, posterior part extends and externally rotates on. Nerve supply, axillary nerve, and blood supply, deltoid branch of thoracoacromial artery. If you remember, thoracoacromial artery is the one of the branch coming from the second part of axillary artery. APCD branches, if you remember, acromial, pectoral, clavicular, and deltoid. D stands for deltoid branch of thoracoacromial. Now, in a dissected, I kept this dissected picture as well to just show you. Now, see, this is the clavicle bone. From the lateral one third of the clavicle, we have these anterior fibers. This is the acromion process, from where we have the multipinnate acromial fibers. From behind, we will have, in the previous picture, from behind we saw, this is the spine of the scapula. We have the uh, like uh, uh, fibers coming from the lower lip of the crest of the spine of the scapula. So all the three directions, all of them are converging and they are getting inserted over here. That is deltoid tuberosity. Okay, and this is the thoracoacromial artery, and this is the deltoid branch which supplies the deltoid muscle. Now, I told you it's one of the short notes for your final exam, university exam, and also for internals and part completions. You should know many other features. Once you cut and reflect this muscle, you will see many underlying structures. So, I will also show you one more picture how it looks. See, this is our deltoid muscle. You have cut the deltoid muscle completely so that you are able to see the humerus bone, head of the humerus, greater tubercle, lesser tubercle. You are able to see the coracoid process. You are able to see the clavicle. Now, if you can remember this much, so whatever muscles are attached to these structures, like coracoid process, if you remember, it has short head of biceps and coracobrachialis. Then greater tubercle, you have sit muscles, no? Like supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and teres minor. Then lesser tubercle, we have subscapularis. Okay, then if you remember, we have intertubercular sulcus, right? So where we have medial lip, lateral lip, and we have the bicipital groove. If you remember, we have used the word like lady between two majors, in the sense we have latissimus dorsi in the floor with the pectoralis and the teres major on the either lips of the intertubercular sulcus. Okay. So this biceps tendon is passing in the intertubercular sulcus. So all these structures, pectoralis, major insertion, everything you will be able to see once you cut this muscle. We need to cut the clavicular fibers, acromial fibers, and from behind scapular fibers also. Okay. If you cut all the direction and if you reflect the muscle downwards, you will see what are the structures underlying. So that is the thing what I wanted to tell you, that's what makes structures under the cover of deltoid. So the bones what we see, if you cut the deltoid, you will be able to see the upper end of the humerus. We will be also able to see the coracoid process. Okay, we will see the insertion of pectoralis minor over the coracoid process. If you remember the greater tubercle, where we have sit muscle, supraspinatus, here we have supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and teres minor. And the lesser tubercle, this one, we have the insertion of the subscapularis, right? Then, so pectoralis major, teres major, and latissimus dorsi, they are all related to the bicipital groove, medial and lateral lips. Okay, so these were the insertion of the muscles under the cover of deltoid. We have few muscles originating also under the cover of deltoid. That is the origin of the short head of biceps, long head of biceps, coming from the coracoid process is short head. From the supraglenoidal tubercle, we have the long head of biceps. From the infraglenoidal tubercle, we have the long head of triceps. From the posterior aspect of the humerus bone, we also have lateral head of the triceps brachial, isn't it? So all these muscles are seen once you cut and reflect the deltoid muscle. So all these muscles are originating under the cover of deltoid. So apart from that, we also find certain blood vessels. What are the blood vessels we see? If you remember the third part of like axillary artery, I told you we have subscapular. Apart from that, we have anterior circumflex humeral and posterior circumflex humeral. Okay, this is anterior circumflex, this is posterior circumflex. Posterior circumflex humeral is also accompanied by axillary nerve. Okay, so these are also seen under the cover of deltoid. So shoulder joint is seen, and the ligaments which are associated with shoulder joint also we will see. Okay, coracoacromial arch, we will see musculotendinous cuff. I will tell you as we proceed, like we have sit muscles, sits actually we can say supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor and subscapularis. They form all support around the shoulder, which is actually called as musculotendinous cuff. We will see in the following slides with pictures. Apart from that, we will find coracoacromial ligament, which you will study in detail when we do shoulder joint. Apart from that, we will also find bursae along with joints like below deltoid muscle. The name of the bursa is subdeltoid or subacromial bursa. Okay. See here, this is like you are finding, this is the deltoid muscle. Okay, below the deltoid muscle, we have a synovial membrane filled space filled with synovial fluid. You call it as subacromial bursa. Okay, so that is, we are finding the acromion process. We are finding the anterior and posterior circumflex humeral vessels, axillary nerve. Okay, this is the capsule of shoulder joint, what you see. So all these structures we find as structures which we find under the cover of deltoid muscle. Okay, then so these are all pictures. Like above the spine of the scapula, we have supraspinatus origin. Insertion is going to the greater tubercle. Below we have infraspinatus. Again, insertion is greater tubercle of the humerus. Then you have supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and we have teres minor, right? So teres minor, you will see it is coming from the lateral border of the scapula in the upper 2/3. Insertion is again greater tubercle. Okay, teres major in the lower 1/3 of the lateral border of the scapula. Okay, and it is getting inserted into the lips of the intertubercular sulcus. Okay, so all these are the things what you have to know when we are doing this. Okay, so now let us talk about the clinical anatomy of this deltoid muscle. Why this deltoid muscle is so important? Why so frequently asked in exam? Because this is the muscle where intramuscular injections are given, and we choose middle of the muscle to avoid injury to the axillary nerve, because we know that deltoid is supplied by axillary nerve, and suppose if this nerve is damaged, person will not be able to do this 90 degrees abduction, which is brought about by acromial fibers of the deltoid muscle. So deltoid muscle is tested by asking the patient to abduct arm against resistance. In the sense, you will hold it tight and you will ask him to just abduct. So if his fibers are working normally, he will be able to abduct against resistance. And if the muscle fibers are paralyzed due to injury of axillary nerve, he won't be able to abduct 90 degrees. Okay. So we can also feel the contraction of the muscle with the help of our other hand to check how far the muscle is functional. Now, apart from what are the various conditions? See, axillary nerve may be damaged by the dislocation of the shoulder or by the fracture of surgical neck of the humerus. I told you when this I discussed humerus, because surgical neck of the humerus is closely related to axillary nerve. So if the person is falling on outstretched hand and if the humerus is fracturing, getting fractured at the surgical neck, you will see axillary nerve will be damaged, because of which deltoid will be paralyzed. So when, see, this is the normal area where deltoid is clear, like both the sides bilaterally the deltoid is normal, there is no nerve paralysis. Whereas here on the right side you are finding the rounded contour of the shoulder is lost, and the greater tubercle of the humerus is becoming prominent because of the damage to axillary nerve. The deltoid is paralyzed and abduction up to 90 degrees of the shoulder is not possible. And there is sensory loss over the lower half of the deltoid due to the damage of the axillary nerve, which has now become cutaneous. So this lower half of the deltoid, which is losing the sensation, no pain, no touch, even you prick with the needle also no pain. So this badge-like area is called regimental badge. Now, as I told you, I will talk a little about musculotendinous cuff or the rotator cuff, because this itself can come as a 3 marks question. So we know, like over the greater tubercle and the lesser tubercle of the humerus, we have certain muscles getting inserted. What are those? Sit, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and teres minor over the greater tubercle, and lesser tubercle we have subscapularis. So these muscles are actually forming a cuff around the shoulder. Okay, So the tendons, while crossing the shoulder joint, they become flattened. See, this green in color inside is the capsule of shoulder joint. Over the capsule, you are finding the tendons of the sits muscles are getting flattened so that they will give extra support to the shoulder joint. Because shoulder joint as such will be structurally weak joint, because glenoid cavity is comparatively shallow and head of the humerus is quite big. To hold the head of the humerus in the glenoid cavity, so many extra supports are developed naturally. Okay, so that is, so the cuff gives strength to the capsule of shoulder joint. You can see exclusively this musculotendinous cuff or the rotator cuff. This is glenoid cavity, okay, around which we have the capsule of the shoulder joint. I'm not discussing the other names. You will be discussing with shoulder joint. You need not worry about the other names now. So what are the muscles around the capsule of the shoulder joint? Sits. Supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor and subscapularis. Okay. So this forms a cuff around the shoulder joint. You call it as musculotendinous cuff, shoulder cuff or the rotator cuff. Okay. Then so, of course, these muscles have been discussed when we were discussing osteology. A quick review: supraspinatus arises from the supraspinous fossa of the scapula, attaches to the upper part of the greater tubercle. In some of the books, it is given as tuberosity, but the books what we follow is naming it as greater tubercle only. So, it abducts the arm. Infraspinatus from the infraspinous fossa and posterior part of the greater tubercle of the humerus. Again, it also externally rotates. Teres minor from the upper part of the lateral border of the scapula. Again, it in the inferior part of the greater tubercle of the humerus. It also externally rotates the arm. Okay, teres major arises from the inferior angle and also adjacent lateral border. Okay, and you can see this is teres minor. So it is insertion is lowest impression of the greater tubercle of the humerus. Okay. Then major is medial lip of the bicipital groove of the humerus. Subscapularis arises from the subscapular fossa. It goes to the lesser tubercle. Okay. So supraspinatus is supplied by suprascapular nerve. Infraspinatus by the suprascapular nerve. Again, these nerves you have studied when we were doing brachial plexus. Teres minor by the axillary nerve along with deltoid. Subscapularis by the upper and lower subscapular nerves. Teres major by lower subscapular nerve. Okay. So once you know what are the various muscles we have in the scapular region, now we will be trying to understand what are the intermuscular spaces. Now see, the deltoid has been cut and it has been reflected. Okay. Then you see this is the long head of triceps. We have teres minor, okay, going to the greater tubercle, teres major going to the medial lip of the intertubercular sulcus. From the, just now we studied the origin from the lower one third of the lateral border of the scapula and also inferior angle of the scapula. Now between these three muscles, what are those? Teres minor, teres major and long head of triceps. If you observe 1, 2 and 3 spaces are created. Okay, these spaces are between muscles. That's why we call them as intermuscular spaces. Okay, so if you observe the boundaries of this particular space, it has how many boundaries? 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's how it is called as quadrangular space. If you observe this space, it has 1, 2 and 3. It looks like a triangle. Hence it is called as triangular space. And lower down also, if you observe, again it has 3 boundaries, 1, 2 and 3. That's how this is called as the lower triangular space. So overall, how many spaces do we have? 3. Upper quadrangular, then upper triangular and lower triangular space. Now, the clinical significance of these spaces are, if you observe this upper quadrangular space, it is giving passage to certain important structures like axillary nerve and posterior circumflex humeral vessel. In fact, we can discuss the boundaries also here only. Okay, so in the upper quadrangular space, the upper boundary is formed by the lower border of the teres minor. Okay, so medially it is surgical neck of the, laterally it is surgical neck of the humerus. Medially it is long head of triceps and inferiorly it is upper border of teres major. Like this, we have a quadrangular space. Content of this quadrangular space is we have axillary nerve and posterior circumflex artery and vein. Okay. Now, if you observe this upper triangular space, the upper boundary, it is formed by the teres minor. Laterally now is triceps. Near to the midline is medial boundary. Away from the midline towards the humerus is lateral, right? Now, actually, now that long head of triceps becomes the lateral boundary of this triangular space, and upper border of teres major forms the lower border of this triangular space. So what do we find here? Circumflex scapular artery. If you remember, circumflex scapular artery is a branch of which artery? Subscapular artery, which in turn is a branch of third part of axillary artery. It is accompanied by vein, subscapular vein. The lower triangular space, if you observe, superiorly which muscle do we have? Lower border of teres major. Medially, near to the midline, which muscle do we have? Long head of triceps. Laterally, what bone do we have? Shaft of the humerus. Now, what are the contents are we finding here? We are finding profunda brachiae vessels. Profunda brachiae artery is one of the branch of the brachial artery, the largest branch of the brachial artery. Along with this, you are finding one like very big nerve, thick nerve, that is radial nerve. And so that means in the lower triangular space, we have the profunda brachiae vessels and radial nerve. Okay. So like that, let me elaborate more. With the help of picture also I have tried to help you understand. So we have three spaces in the posterior aspect of the shoulder region. We have quadrangular, upper triangular and lower triangular space. So which muscle is this? We have teres, like minor above, major below, and then we have the long head of triceps, with the help of which we have upper quadrangular, upper triangular and the lower triangular space, right? Okay. So that is, we have, this is the quadrangular space we have, where we have which vessels? We have posterior circumflex humeral vessels and axillary nerve. Okay. Then, so first of all, let us see this quadrangular space. So what are the boundaries of the quadrangular space? This is teres minor superiorly, teres major inferiorly, long head of triceps medially, and shaft of the humerus laterally. Okay, actually here, actually it comes to surgical neck only. Instead of using the word shaft, we have to use surgical neck. Contents are axillary nerve and posterior circumflex humeral vessels. Okay, then we have the triangular space, this one. Okay, so this space you have like superiorly again you have teres minor, inferiorly we have teres major, and laterally we have long head of triceps. What is this vessel? We have circumflex scapular artery and also vein, which is one of the branches of subscapular artery, which in turn is a branch of third part of axillary artery. Okay, then this is the lower triangular space, which is found superiorly we have teres major. Okay, then medially we have long head of triceps, and laterally we have shaft of the humerus. What are the contents we just saw? This is radial nerve. Along with this we have profunda brachiae artery. Profunda brachiae artery is a branch of brachial artery, largest branch of brachial artery. Brachial artery is a continuation of which artery? Axillary artery. Okay, so now this summary of contents: quadrangular space has axillary nerve and posterior circumflex humeral vessels. So upper triangular space has circumflex scapular artery. Lower triangular space has radial nerve and profunda brachiae artery. Okay. Now, axillary nerve has already been dealt when you were doing brachial plexus, but axillary nerve itself may come sometimes as an essay question and also as a short note. So, axillary nerve is called axillary as it is running through the upper part of the axilla, right? So, this is upper quadrangular space. The course of axillary nerve is in the upper, this quadrangular space. That's the reason again I am discussing, though it has been discussed in the brachial plexus. So it is called as circumflex nerve also because it is just winding behind. Okay, where does it wind? Around the surgical neck of the humerus. So the nerve supply, it goes to which muscles does it supply? It supplies to this round contour of the shoulder, which is produced by the deltoid. One twig is also going to the teres minor muscle. Okay, the root value of axillary or circumflex nerve is C5 and C6. From which cord of the brachial plexus have you seen it is coming as? What is this cord? Posterior cord. And this nerve in violet color, it has been shown axillary nerve. Okay. And of course, the root value is C5 and C6. Now, the course. If you remember the quadrangular space, automatically you will write everything about the course of this nerve. So axillary nerve is small terminal branch of the posterior cord of the brachial plexus seen in the axilla. The nerve passes backwards through the quadrangular space where it is lying below the capsule of shoulder joint. Okay. So it passes behind the surgical neck of the humerus where it is dividing into anterior and posterior divisions. Okay, so it has two divisions. The one which goes in front is the anterior division and the one which comes behind is the posterior division. Okay, the branches of axillary nerve, see here. So from the main trunk, so the anterior division is going and supplying most of the part of the deltoid. Posterior division supplies the posterior fibers of the deltoid and also teres minor. The nerve to teres minor is characterized by the presence of pseudoganglion. Okay, that means here where we have this teres minor piercing point, there you will see some round dot-like area that is nothing but the pseudoganglion. Okay, which is nothing but the collection of only the cell bodies. Okay, then now cutaneous supply, it is going and supplying the upper lateral cutaneous nerve. It is continuing as upper lateral cutaneous nerve of the arm. So articular, from the trunk you will see the nerve supply is going to the shoulder joint, and from the posterior division it is going and supplying the blood vessel, that is posterior circumflex humeral artery. Okay, so these are our quadrangular, upper triangular and lower triangular spaces. I kept similar picture here to make you understand. See, what muscle is this? Round contour of shoulder. This is deltoid muscle. And these are which fibers? Scapular fibers, acromial fibers. What is this point? Deltoid tuberosity. What is this space? We have upper quadrangular space. Okay, superiorly it is bounded by teres minor. Lower down, this area will be teres major. Here you will find the long head of triceps, isn't it? Medially. So what are the structures you can see piercing like this? So this is axillary nerve along with posterior circumflex humeral vessel. You can correspond the boundaries with this. Pause the video wherever you are finding difficult. Read for yourself. Listen to the lecture again. It becomes easy for you. Okay, this is the upper triangular space. Okay, and this is the lower triangular space. So in the lower triangular space, again you are finding superiorly it is bound by this muscle. What is this? This is the teres major, isn't it? Then medially it is bound by this long muscle. What is this? Long head of triceps. Laterally we have shaft of the humerus. So what are the structures do we find here? Radial nerve and profunda brachii artery. Profunda brachii artery is also called as deep artery of arm. Okay. So we have quadrangular space, lower triangular space. Okay. Upper triangular space will be here where you have the circumflex scapular artery. Okay, here. So that's what you have to know. Try to search for some YouTube dissected videos so that you understand these muscles also clearly till we start our dissection live. Okay, so certain facts to remember. Branches of axillary nerve with accompanying blood vessels pass through quadrangular intermuscular spaces, isn't it? Which axillary nerve accompanying vessel is posterior circumflex humeral vessel. The loose fold of capsule of shoulder joint forms upper boundary of quadrangular intermuscular space. Radial nerve and profunda brachii vessels course through lower triangular space. Very important. These are the facts which you should remember. Only circumflex scapular vessels pass through upper triangular space. Thank you.